So this video might be more around the 10 to 15 minute mark, but it will, whatever I cover in this video, a lot of it will also pertain, for this response here, a lot of what will pertain to this discussion piece will also pertain to this discussion piece. So keep that in mind in terms of this video being a little bit longer and the likelihood of this being a little bit shorter. So these two items are similar to the previous two items where you block indent a self-quote and do a critical self-assessment. What is different about these two, let me see, yeah. What is different about this one is that you are using two different sources of information. So you're not going to just go to one item that you submitted, you're going to go to two items that you submitted, and you are going to use them to construct your responses. So for this one, it says, present again your entire response for item 1 of week 9, task 1. So it says again. So all you'll have to do is go back to wherever you already copied week 9, task 1. And so you did that when you were focused on meeting objective 1. And so that would be right here. So remember, for this discussion piece under objective 1, this was discussion piece 2, you have to present your entire response. I want you to copy it again so that I don't have to go up and down to look at what you're saying and then fact check it against what you actually, to fact check your claims that you're making against the response that you're talking about. So you'll just go back up into your document, copy this, and then you're going to paste it in the same way. You're going to paste it again down here in this part of your writing assignment. And the idea here is that, of course, as with other assignments, with other discussion pieces, I need to see the original text, your original responses that you're talking about immediately and directly where you're talking about them. So that's why you're doing this. So you'll do that again, block indented to the right, italicized, but then notice this particular discussion piece has you presenting your entire response, not only for a task, but for an item that goes from a wrapper that goes with that task. So I've already shown you where to get this from, but then you need to go to week 9, task 1, and go to that wrapper. And so I want to call your attention to something here, iterate something here, is the task wrapper names for week 9 are just a little bit different. So I don't want you to get confused because you assume that I named them exactly the same. So for like week 8, the week 8 task wrappers, I start with the phrase task wrapper. When it came to week 9, my phrase is a little bit different in terms of the assignment title. I put complete task wrapper, complete task wrapper. So of course, I'm telling you to go to complete task wrapper 1. So of course, you'll click on that, and then you'll open that just the same way that I've been telling you to do that. And so for this part, I'm just going to use an actual student submission, which is what you already see in front of you. So let me get that up in front of you. Okay, so this is an actual student submission, just like the one you saw in Word. And this is from the week 9, see, complete task wrapper for week 9, task 1. And so you can see it was worth 70 of 70 points. Now this one is a little bit different. It's set up a little bit different. I'm just showing you where to go to get it. And so this is an actual student response. So of course he would copy and paste that. And I just want to show you what it looks like to copy and paste two things together. So make sure that when you're doing this for this particular item, that you separate where one begins and one ends. So then of course you still want to block indent 10 spaces. And then I want you to italicize, right? So now you can see that for this discussion piece, you're going to have two quotes. One from the actual task 1. This is item 1 from week 9, task 1. And then this is the item 1. This is item 1 from the task wrapper. So this is week 9, task 1, item 1. This is the task wrapper, right, that went with it. So this is the task wrapper that went with that. So task wrapper for week 9, task 1, item 1. So the idea here is that, of course, is that you wrote your response to week 9, task 1, and then you talk about your writing that response and what grade you think you're going to get. What the grade in this wrapper, you talked about what grade you thought you would get for this right here. Also, don't forget to check the formatting. So this is too small. I can just see that these are different font sizes. Remember, they all have to be the same size. So I need to change this to font size 11 if I'm using Arial. So I need to make sure that's, and that's something I want you to remember, is go back and look. Care about the formatting of your work. Care about the presentation and the look of your work. As you can see, because of the detailed answer that the student gave, it takes almost a complete page. And that's why I said in another video, you might find that your submission is way over 5 pages because there's so much quoted material. So this is adding almost a full page. This is adding a page because of the quoted material. But of course, the discussion is going to begin. Okay, and so what you'll be doing is creating a discussion based on the responses here. So let's go and look at the content. What are you supposed to do with these 2 quotes? So it says, how does your score and the feedback provided for your week 9 task 1 response align with or connect to what you said for item 1 of week 9 task 1 wrapper? Okay, so this is what you said about, look at the student. He said, if this were a standalone assignment, I think I would make an A, and then he says why, right? So in this case, you're not talking about how well you did the task wrapper. That's not the point. In the previous 2 videos, we focused on task wrappers and how well you did meeting the expectations for the task wrapper. Here, what you're doing is you're comparing what you said in your task wrapper about your intellectual results for week 9 task 1. This is different from what you did in objective 1. In objective 1, you used this response, week 9 task 1, to connect your ideas to some of Descartes. But now you have this again, and what you're doing is you're using a wrapper response to see, to make sense of the performance that you made here and what you thought you would get here. So, for example, the student says, I spent about 1 hour on task 1 of week 9. I read the instructions 4 times. I read them twice before starting, blah, blah, blah. Then he says, if this were a standalone assignment, I would make an A. I selected an A because I believe the answer the questions correctly. I used Dr. C's rubric as a point of reference. I went over it again, even after that, to make sure I did not miss anything. Okay, so he said that he made an A. So then what he would do is he would go back to the grade book and look at the score that he made. This means that I need to tell you what letter grade corresponds with the score that you got. So to help you with this, again, you're going to have to go back into the grade book. You're going to have to open up week 9 task 1, and you're going to have to look for item 1 and see what score did you get on this item. So you're going to have to mention your score. So if you got 63 or more points, then your letter grade is an A. If you got 56 to 62.99 points, then your letter grade is a B. If you got 49 to 55.99 points, then your grade is a C. If you got 42 to 48.99 points, then your letter grade for this task is a D. If you got less than 42, then your letter grade for this task is an F. So you'll want to see the score, and then let's go back to right here. So how does your score and the feedback provided with your week 9 task 1 response align with, connect to what you said for item 1? So you get the score. You're probably going to want to start off by giving information about your score down here. So you can say, I scored a 63 on this, meaning that I got an A. Or I got a 70, meaning I got a perfect score on this. Okay, so of course you're going to want to start off with the score and the equivalent, and then now you know the letter of equivalent. So then you're going to go down into your original response. Does the score that you actually got, given the equivalent letter grade, correspond with what you thought you might get? So look at what the student said. If this were a standalone assignment, I would get an A. So then you'd want to say something like, in the wrapper, when I was predicting the assignment grade, I said that I would probably get an A. And so my prediction of my grade for week 9 task 1 is consistent or is aligned with the score I actually made for task 1 of week 9. So in other words, is what you said about your work on week 9 task 1, which is up here, is what you said in your wrapper about this aligned and consistent? Maybe it's not. Maybe you said you're going to get an A and you got a 56, meaning you got a B. So then you'd want to say, I got the score of, this is the letter grade that goes with it. In my wrapper response, I said I would get this grade, but you gave me this grade and you said that this is equivalent to this letter. So, I'm giving you those different steps and different kinds of information that you would want to present here. And so notice that it says, back to the response, connect to what you said for item 1. So going into here, you're going to want to pull from here. You can say, I thought I was going to make an A because, as I said in my wrapper, I did this, this, and that. So then you might want to reflect a little bit and say, well, maybe the reason I got a B instead of an A is because although I read the instructions 4 times, maybe I missed something or maybe I was tired. So you might want to speculate as to why you didn't get the grade that you thought, and you'll want to incorporate some other information that you have from here as well. You could say things like, or let's say you did make a perfect grade, and you can say that I predicted an A and made an A is no surprise to me. You could say, like I said, I read the instructions 4 times, and then you can elaborate on that. So you can find something to elaborate on that you have here. You can say, I think reading the instructions contributed to me making an A, and then you can tell me about why is it so important to read instructions, especially in this class. Why is it a must if you're trying to make an A on this assignment? Or let's say you made a B. So then you might reflect on and think about how is it that you read the instructions 4 times and you thought you made an A and yet you made a B. So then you can say, I said in my wrapper response that I read the instructions 4 times, and this is one reason why I thought I would make an A. So I suppose I must have missed something. Reading the instruction 4 times clearly was not enough, or it was not enough to make an A. So maybe there was something else that I did do or didn't do. So you get the idea. I would say you're only going to need about 3 or 4 sentences for this part. But now that I'm thinking about it, you could also go into the rubric for this. You could look for personalized feedback. That would actually be a really good idea. So maybe if you're going for an A-level response, maybe 5 or 6 sentences. But as with the other ones, you might want to go back into, for this one, you would want to go into the rubric for the actual task. Don't go into the rubric or the personalized feedback for the wrapper for this one. Go into the rubric and the personalized feedback for the original response for the actual task for week 9, task 1. What did the rubric say you fell short on? What did I give you a personal comment? Did I say that you fell short in some way in constructing your week 9, task 1, item 1 response? This would be really good. How did what the rubric says you did well or didn't do well, and or what I said you did well or didn't do well on with respect to week 9, task 1, how does that compare? Is it aligned with what you said here in some way? Are there any points of connection or comparison or surprises that you've noted? What kind of observations can you draw based on the rubric and any personalized comments I gave you for week 9, task 1, and what you said in here about what you did to get to your week 9, task 1 response and hence the grade you thought you made?